What's up, everybody on YouTube? It's your boy, the Memphis XLR8, coming at you with a deck profile for Twilight 2020. That's right, the Twilight boys, they are back, the Lords of Light and Darkness. And we got ourselves a very nice deck to show you guys today, so let's get right into it. Monster lineup, we have one Judgmental Dragon, one Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, two Chaos Dragon Levianeer, we got one Chaos Creator, three Wolf, the Lightsworn Beastie Boy, we got Black Dragon Colette Serpent, we got Chaos Daedalus, White Dragon Wyverbuster, we got triple Raiden, the Hand of the Lightsworn, one Perform Age Trick Clown, we got two Fearless, the Lightsworn Archer, three Lumina, the Lightsworn Summoner, two Honest, two Starlight Savory, we got two Danger Mothman, a Danger Nessie, a Perform Age Hat Tricker, Spell Cards, triple Solar Recharge, Reinforcement of Army, triple Charge of the Light Brigade, Future Visions, Terraforming, triple Chaos Space. No traps needed today. For extra deck, we have one Elder Entity Natis, one Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magic Dragon, one Borlode Savage Dragon, one Michael the Dark Lightsworn, one Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn, one number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon, Titanic Galaxy, one number 41 Bagooska, one Mechanized Crusadia Aviramax, one Borlode, one Boral Sword, one Masquerena, one Unicorn, one Union Carrier, Nightmare, Phoenix, and a Saryuja. Side deck we go over in a moment. So this deck is very much a combo-centric deck. The whole idea of this deck is to continue to dump cards into the graveyard, fill up the graveyard with as many light and dark monsters as possible, and then banish them for all of our powerful monsters. We primarily do this using things like Raiden, our Solar Recharge, and Charge of the Light Brigade. Raiden lets you ditch two cards on the top of your deck to the graveyard. Any Lightsworn sent will boost it by 200 attack points, which is nice, but completely irrelevant. We just want to keep it dumping cards, especially if we can dump Wolf. This guy and this guy together makes a very powerful combination, let me tell you something. Our Raiden boy is a tuner and he's level 4. You combine him with Wolf and you make one of your most powerful monsters, the Chaos Ruler. This is a godsend for the Twilight deck. Basically, if this guy's synchro summoned, you excavate 5 cards, add a light or dark monster that you excavate, and mill everything else. This will trigger your other wolves and your Fearlesses, as well as loading up the graveyard. It's a very, very powerful effect. As well, we have a Fearless, of course. When she's milled, she gets summoned. You can tribute her to target a monster and destroy it, and then mill more cards. You just keep milling and milling. Lumina is a non-once per turn revival of a Lightsworn monster. You just have to ditch one card from your hand. The only trick is you have to have a Lightsworn in the graveyard first, but if you do, you can actually ditch Lumina to summon Lumina, and then the other Lumina goes off. Like I said, not a once per turn effect. Very, very powerful. As well, monsters we have Honest, because we have light monsters. Don't have to explain that one. Just if your opponent attacks your light monster or vice versa, dump this dude, increase attack points. But let's get to the dark attribute. Of course, we got Black Collapse Serpent and White Wyverbuster. Very nice duo monsters. You banish a light to summon this, and you summon in this guy by banishing a dark. Either of these guys leaves the field, you get to add the other to your hand. It's a very nice little 1-2 sort of punch. Little nice 1-2 punch. We got a lot of rank 4s and some synchro monsters as well. So these two work just well together. As well, we have this thing. This is Starly's Shafrit. You can ditch dragons from hand or field to add dragons whose levels are equal to the number of the stars of the monsters you ditch. So basically, if you are in a pinch, you can normal summon Shafrit, tribute him to add your Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, because this is light attribute monster as well. You can also banish this dude to add a level light or dark dragon from your graveyard to hand. We do have a few of those, so it's a nice little tech card. Of course, we also have some dangers, which is more of a thing you discard, but is also very nice if you can do the danger shuffle. If you can discard Mothman and draw one, discard one, or discard one of your other cards, summon this guy as a level 4 monster, draw another card, Nessie just summons out Mothman. It's pretty nice. As well, our last little bit of a small engine, we've got other Perform Ages. Trick Clown, when milled, you take 1,000 damage, and then he summons himself. Tricker, you can summon if you have 2 or more monsters on the field, so he's just a free level 4. Very nice. Now, little monsters aside, let's talk about the big monsters in this deck. Judgement Dragon, the OG boss monster of Lightsworn. You pay 1,000 light points, nuke the board. The only catch is you have to have 4 more Lightsworns with different names. We do have 4 of those monsters, but this is not the ideal thing. You know, Judgment Dragon's something you summon every once in a while. Don't rely on him too much. If you feel like you need to banish your light monsters to do Levianeer or whatever, do it. You know, if you can't summon Judgment Dragon, tough. You'll do it at some point. Blackluster Soldier Boy, nice little boy, can attack twice and also can banish a monster. Nice little tech card if you just need another body on the board or what have you. One of the main monsters in this deck is Levianeer, the chaotic dragon bear. You can only summon him by banishing 3 light and or dark monsters. His effect varies depending on what you banish. If you banish only lights, you can summon a monster from the grave in defense. Only dark, you shuffle a random card in your opponent's hand to the deck. If you do both, you destroy up to 2 cards on the field. All these are very good effects. The one I use the most is the light one because it lets you extend your plays. But depending on what your setup is, it will depend on what you do with it. If you're going first and your graveyard is full of darks, go right ahead and mill one of your opponents, or not mill, but get rid of one of your opponent's hit cards in the hand. It's a very nice effect. He's a level 8 boy. It's all good. This is the new boy, Chaos Creator. You summon him by banishing a light and a dark. You can then do this very, very cool effect. You can target 3 of the... Oh, wrong card. You can target 3 of your cards that are banished. It can be yours or your opponent's cards, so remember that. And then you take those 3 cards, you summon one of them, and place the rest on the bottom of the deck in whatever order. So it's a very nice little thing where you can just recycle your monsters. If it can't be normal summoned or set, you won't be able to summon it. But... yeah, no, it's a nice little thing for extending combos. Another body on the board is all very good. Our last big boy in the main deck is Chaos Daedalus, which is a card I discovered while making this deck. Basically what this card does is that you can summon it by banishing a light and a dark monster. And then if you have a field spell on board, which we do have a field spell, your light and darks can't be targeted. Very, very nasty thing. It also has the ability of banishing cards up to the number of field spells on the field, which is something you do on occasion, and it works just fine, and I very much enjoy it. So, very cool indeed, Mr. Daedalus. As well as our spells, let's get into those. Solar Recharge, one of our nastiest spells. Ditch a Lightsworn monster, draw 2, mill 2. This is a great target for a wolf, because if you have this in your hand, it's no good. This guy can only be summoned if he is milled. It's a very annoying thing to have him in the hand, but if you have him with Recharge, it's all good. We also have Charge of the Light Brigade, a non-once per turn, mill 3, add a Lightsworn monster. This is a very powerful card. You're usually adding Raiden with this thing and ditching some cards. Hopefully you ditch a Wolf or a Felis. Either one works. Rhoda, you know, add a Raiden. Just add a Raiden to your hand. This guy is very important to this plays. So let's look at the field spell. I picked Future Visions for multiple reasons. Rule number 1, I needed a field spell. Rule number 2 is that this card, if opponents or anybody monsters normal summoned, it gets banished for a turn. We do not normal summon very often. We're a lot of special summons. So this can really screw over people who need a normal summon, like say Dark Magicians if they're summoning Rod. If your opponent summons like, I don't know, Jet Synchron or something and it gets banished for a turn, messes up their combos. It's a very, very cool thing. So that's what Future Vision and Terraforming for. You don't do this too often, but when you do it, it's a beautiful thing. And lastly, we have Chaos Space. This is a newer card. You ditch a light or dark, add a light or dark that can't be normal summoned or set with a level from 4 to 8 with a different attribute than the monster. So I don't need to explain that one. You ditch a light monster, get your Levianeer, or your dark monster and get Soldier Boy, or ditch a light to get Daedalus. It's just a free set of all that. And as well, you can banish this card from the grave to target a banished light or dark that can't be normal summon set. Put it on the bottom of the deck and draw another card. It's just more resources to you. Very, very nice card indeed. So the next thing, hold on one second, I gotta plug in a laptop here. You might hear a hum, but regardless, let's go over the extra deck a little bit. Alrighty, so for extra deck, first off we got Natis. It's a card we can make on occasion. It's mostly here in case you're up against Dogmatica. If your opponent's trying to extra deck dump you, then you want to dump this so you can pop one of their Dogmatica cards. It's a very nice little tech card. You can summon it on occasion, because we do run Synchros and Xyz monsters, and you can summon a level 4 monster from your hand. It's just, you rarely want to do it. On occasion you could, but mostly it's for dumping in case Dogmatica. The main focus of extra deck shenanigans comes from this dude, Chaos Ruler, Chaotic Magical Dragon. This guy's level 8 Dark Synchro, and when he is synchroed, you can activate 5 cards from the top of your deck and add any activated light or dark monster to your hand and mill the rest of those cards. This is a godsend for the Twilight deck. This card is amazing. I don't know why other people don't use it. I'm not really sure. But basically, it's just plain and simple. You summon Raiden, you get out your wolf by milling him, or whatever you need to do to get another level 4 on the field. You excavate 5, add any of your monsters except for Hat Tricker, and then you mill the rest. So it's a really nice thing, especially if you mill Wolf or a Clown or Felis. You can just plus for days if you get the right mills off of this thing. You can also banish a light and dark from hand or grave to summon this thing from the grave, which is just another bit of added utility. You know, you can get yourself another level 8 on the board, make your Titanic Galaxy or what have you. You also got Borreload Savage Dragon, more for later game depending on what you got. Sometimes you can make it turn 1, sometimes you can't, but it's nice to have it in the extra deck. Usually you're equipping your Link 2 to it like Phoenix here, but sometimes you can also do Aviramax depending on how the game goes. You got your Michael the Arc Lightsworn, nice level 7 synchro. You can pay 1,000 to target a card and banish it. It's a very nice little boy, very easy to summon with Raiden plus Lumina or Lumina plus Felis. It's also got 2 other effects. It does do the usual Lightsworn mill of 3 cards, but it also has an effect if it gets destroyed, you get to target Lightsworns in the grave, put them back in your deck, gain 300 life points for each of them. It's a very nice little bit of utility there. You don't usually want to put too many of your Lightsworns back in the deck, obviously, because we're trying to set up the graveyard, but if you need the extra life points, it's fine. Just make sure you don't get rid of like all your copies of Raiden in the graveyard in case you need to summon that Judgment Dragon. So it's a nice little card, usually just using it for the banishing of cards. It works just fine at 1. Next up, we've got Monaro the Exalted Lightsworn, our first rank 4 monster, needing 2 level 4 monsters. It can be any level 4 monsters. You detach a material from this to mill 3, and then draw cards equal to the number of Lightsworns sent to the grave by this effect. Amazing for setting up the graveyard. Potential big draw if you mill enough Lightsworns, but the most important part of Minerva is just setting up the graveyard. It also has a very nice effect that if it's destroyed, you also mill 3 cards, and then you can destroy cards up to the number of Lightsworns sent to the graveyard by that effect, which you don't always get to do. Usually when a Minerva's on the board and you've done the excavation, you get enough stuff going, you usually use Minerva's link material or some such, but it's nice to have her on the board just in case, if you happen to not be able to do anything with her. So, Minerva, very good girl. We also have number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon, Titanic Galaxy. When a spell card is activated, you can negate and attach it as material to this boy. Very nice thing considering the level 8s we have in this deck. Very easy to make this boy. Very nice if you can combine this with Aviramax as well as the Future Visions, as well as Chaos Daedalus. It's a very powerful sort of lockdown situation that's kind of difficult to get around. He also has a nice effect that he can make it so your opponent has to attack this boy to protect your little monsters. You don't always use that effect, but it's something you are fully capable of doing. He also has an effect if an Exceed is destroyed by battle or card effect, which I've never used in any of my testing, but if you happen to have Titanic and Minerva on the field and Minerva dies, then Titanic Galaxy gets even bigger. So there you go. You also got Bagooska, which is more of an emergency sort of thing. I've never had to use Bagooska. It's just nice to have Bagooska in my extra deck. You know, any 2 level 4s, put them in defense mode, lock your opponent out of attacking, or using monster effects on the board for a turn. So it's a nice little thing. You don't really need Bagooska. If you want to tech this guy out for something like Photon Lord for more negates or something, go right ahead. But I like having Bagooska in the extra deck. Now for our Link lineup, we have Aviramax, pretty self-explanatory boy. He is just a massive wall to climb over. He can't be targeted, prevent your opponent from attacking other monsters. You make him with Masquerena, he can't be destroyed. He beats over anything special summoned. If he dies, he spins a card back to the deck. Aviramax is just so many effects packed into one card. It's insane. So this is a guy I usually make as often as possible, just to have a nice big wall to set up for my opponent. You also got Borload Dragon and Boral Sword Dragon for some toolboxy sort of element. Borload good for stealing unbeatable monsters. Boral Sword good for OTKs. We also got Masquerena. Like I said, you combine her with Aviramax or use Unicorn on our opponent's turn, depending on our setup, in order to make Unbeatable Boy or spin cards back to the deck during the opponent's turn. Pretty self-explanatory, and I've already explained Unicorn, so you already know what that does. Union Carry I threw in here because we have a lot of monsters with the same types and the same attributes. You can equip monsters you control with cards from your deck to boost them by 1,000. It's a nice little thing. Like I said, you don't use them much for anything else other than making your big monsters bigger. But it's still a nice little thing to have if you really need more attack points, or you need to equip a certain Lightsworn that you want that 4th one in the grave, and get Judgement Dragon out in a pinch. It's the thing. Of course, we also have a Nightmare Phoenix for popping back row, mostly combining it with Masquerena to make our Link 4s. As well, our final link is a Saryuja. We summon so many monsters with different names in this deck. It's very easy to go into Saryuja. I considered going with 2 Saryuja, but 1 is usually more than enough. You can go for more, but we don't really want to mill ourselves out. So, you know, I keep Saryuja in 1 and I will do just fine. So the side deck, not too many things for side deck. There's a couple of choices. You got your Chaos Emperor Dragon if you wanted to replace a Blacklister Soldier. Seeing as this is also a dragon and he is also level 8. You can't use his nuke effect during the same turn you use any other effects though. So it's kind of an iffy thing. If you wanted to tech this in, go right ahead. You got Natis, again, if you're really up against Dogmatica, that way you can pop multiple cards. Another Honest if you really need it. Usually don't. You got Chaos Valkyrie, you can summon it by banishing a Light in the Dark from the graveyard. It's a very nice card. If it itself is banished, you can ditch a Light and Dark monster from the deck to the grave. So just more graveyard setup to ya. And as well, we got some more dangers. Chupacabra to revive one of our dangers. We got Jackalope to summon another danger. Tsuchinoko, just free material. All these are very good monsters. If you wanted to do even more Link shenanigans, I would recommend teching these in over, say, Honest or maybe a Star Liege. It's all good. You also have Parallel Exceed. If this guy is special summoned by the effect of Parallel Exceed, it becomes level 4. And if you Link summon, you can summon this from the hand. And then you can summon another one from the deck. I wouldn't recommend this at 3. It's more of a 2-of sort of thing. And like I said, you can go into like Masquerena, summon this, summon another one, go for Phoenix, go for whatever. So it's a nice little idea. I didn't go for it just because it's not a light dark monster. It is not even a dragon monster. It's level 8, which is cool. But I decided to not run it, but to go ahead if you want to. Lastly, for the things I picked, we got Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord for a monster effect negation, which is an alright monster. You can make it and combine it with Galaxy for a really nasty board, but we don't run any photons, so you can't really use him to his full effectiveness because he can, you know, he can be destroyed by card effects and stuff. So do whatever you want to do in that regard. Well, anyway, guys, that is my deck profile for Twilight Deck 2020. I'm going to leave you guys with some sweet replays, as well as a link to a separate video where I do some live duels with this deck and destroy people on EDO Pro. So I hope you guys very much enjoyed today. Smash like, hit sub. We're trying to get the 200 subscribers by the end of the year. That's the goal right now. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Your boy Memphis is going to leave you now with some sweet, sweet replays. Y'all take care now.